Right, now we start with the top story, Matters Economic Survey. Now, all economic sectors registered positive growth with an exception of mining and quarrying in the year 2023. This was the real GDP growth. Actually, this saw the real GDP growth by 5.6% compared to 2022's 4.9%. Talking about agriculture, forestry, and fishing, it contributed 19.8% of the GDP. Financial and insurance activities contributed 16.6%. Real estate stood at 13.3%, with transport and storage at 10.6%. Now, even though key economic sectors marked growth, wholesale and retail trade grew slower in 2023 at 2.7% compared to 3.5% in 2022. Also, the financial and insurance activities also recorded a marginal growth of 10.1% in 2023 compared to 12% in 2022. And these are some of the changes that we'll be taking a look later on and in our subsequent shows in regards to what really changed. For example, why did the financial services grow slower compared to the year 2022 when you place 2023 numbers on the table? Now, our reporter, Nicole Njuguna, is at the KICC where the Economic Survey Report 2024 was unveiled and now joins us with further details.
Good afternoon to you. And the 2024 Kenya Economic Report Survey has just been released. And like we had promised you, here are some of the highlights in the Kenya Economic Report Survey. So on a macroeconomic front, the world GDP has slowed to 3.1% in 2023 compared to 3.5% in 2022. And in terms of employment in the world, it has declined from 5.1% in 2023 from 5.3%. So there's a decrease of about 0.2% there. And in terms of the global inflation, it eased from 8.7 in 2022 to 6.8 in 2023. And now I want us to talk about the domestic economy. And in terms of employment in the domestic economy, total employment grew by 4.4% in 2023, with the public sector wage bill being 832.7 billion in 2023, and the private sector wage bill being 1.97 trillion. So quite a comparison there. And in terms of inflation, we had a constant inflation rate both in 2022 and 2023 of 7.7%, and this was largely driven by high energy prices. So the significant increase is in 2021 from 6.1%. In the money, banking and finance sector, I will touch slightly on the central bank rate, which raised to 12.50% in December 2023 compared to 8.7.5% in 2022. So there is that. In public finance, the national government is expected to grow revenue by 30.2% to 3 trillion Kenya shillings. The national government expenditure 2023-2024 is expected to increase by 26.6% to 4 trillion Kenya shillings. And then in terms of the county government revenue and expenditure, the revenue is expected to increase by 19% to Kenya shillings 512 billion. So in terms of the national government debt, and this is a key number, the debt rose by 19.3% to 9.6 trillion by the end of June 2023. So now here is an interesting sector, the international trade and balance of payment. This we are talking imports and exports. And exports grew by 15.4% to 1 trillion Kenya shillings, and imports increased by 4.9% to 2.6 trillion. So in terms of our top 5 commodities that we are importing, that is petroleum products, industrial machinery, animal and vegetable oil and fats, as well as iron and steel, and finally unmilled wheat. Top export commodities, of course, the apparel industry features greatly here, and tea, horticulture, coffee, and iron and steel. So in terms of the agricultural sector, there was a growth rate from 2.3% to 7%. That is quite a significant growth rate in the agricultural sector. In terms of tea, still on the agricultural sector, tea increased, sugarcane saw an increase, maize, horticultural exports, and milk as well increased in the number of, in the revenue. The only decrease was in coffee. I'll move on quite quickly to the energy sector, and the total value imported declined. In the manufacturing sector, we witnessed an expansion of 2.8% in 2023. A notable decrease is 56.7 billion in terms of EPZ exports under AGOA to 50.8 trillion. So that's a decrease of about 6.7 billion thereabout in EPZ exports under AGOA. In the manufacturing sector, processed milk, wheat flour, soft drinks, sugar, and vehicles, as well as galvanized sheets. This increased. Maize flour, however, decreased by 2.2%, and there was a growth in employment in the construction sector by 1.9% from 231.7 thousand in 2022 to 236,000 in 2023. So cement consumption quite decreased from 3.1 to 9.2 million tons in 2023. So that is quite a significant aspect of the economy so far. And in terms of housing, 3,357 housing units were completed by the State Department for Housing in 2023, and the government expenditure on housing was 92.5 billion Kenya shillings. So that's a key aspect of housing. In terms of tourism, tourism really grew. We just witnessed the 2020 pandemic, and the tourism sector was hit. So just key notable numbers is that the tourism sector has really grown. The number of conferences, the number of international conferences have grown. The hotel bed night occupancy has also grown, and international visitor arrivals have grown by 35.4%, which is quite a significant increase. In terms of ICT recorded a growth of 5.8%. The transport and storage sector also grew quite significantly. Education and training also, this decreased. A notable health expenditure is that this marked quite an increase and a decrease in some of the sections. And in terms of the economic performance, some of the major contributors to economic growth were the transportation and storage sector, real estate, with agriculture, forestry, and fishing being the highest at 19.8%. So in terms of just a basic outlook at the economy, agriculture, forestry, and fishing recorded quite a significant growth in 2023, from 1.5 in 2022 to 6.5 in 2023. Wholesale and retail trade also, this decreased to 2.7%, and transport and storage, this increased to 6.2%, as well as food services and accommodation increasing. Another notable increase of 0.3% is information and communication, and then financial and insurance activities. This decreased from 12.1% to 10%. So that's a decrease of about 2%. That is basically the general economic outlook, and you can be sure that we will bring you subsequent updates. So we have general increases and decreases in different sectors of the economy, and we are looking to see the progress after this. Thank you very much, and back to you in studio.
All right, thank you very much, Nicole Njuguna.